This is February 20th, 2016, and I am in the International Departures Terminal of the Vancouver Airport. My ticket has just been checked, and I'm on my way to the passenger boarding bridge, and I'm feeling hopeful. I'm about to change my entire life because for the last 8 years, I had been getting sucked deeper and deeper into organized crime. My whole world was coming crashing down on me, and it was time to go. There's no way I was able to live this lifestyle anymore, and I was getting ready to get out, get clean, and cut all ties to that world. I was going to move to Bali and get my eat, pray, love on. My girlfriend Leah at the time saw me, and she knew that I was the person that she wanted to live with. We were about to start over together and kind of get our Bonnie and Clyde on the runway. What we saw on that passenger bridge after they stamped our ticket stopped us dead in our tracks. Between me and that airplane was 6 border security agents and a large German Shepherd police dog. They looked directly at me and they said, "You, come over here." They saw a 6'1", fully tattooed brown guy with a Louis Vuitton t-shirt, a Ferragamo man purse, and a hot bombshell girlfriend. She's a sweetheart. The drug detection dog was very interested in me, and it started sniffing at me while I was trying to produce some sort of actions. My heart had stopped in my chest. I couldn't fathom what was happening to me because I was very, very stoned at the time. See, I had taken way too much THC oil before going to the airport, so I thought I'd have a pleasant flight. My friend gave it to me as my going away gift, and I thought it was 30 hours away to get to Bali. So I looked and was extremely stoned. Now, the border security agent was asking me, "Where are you going?" And I was saying, Bali. And he goes, "How long are you going for?" And as I'm trying to answer these questions, a police dog is sniffing at my pockets and they're poking at me. And it's really hard to answer questions not stoned, but also stoned in front of police with a dog. I was acting very suspicious because I was very suspicious. And he said exactly that. "You are acting very suspicious." I stopped dead in my tracks. I didn't know what to say. I had no good answer. My eyes are bloodshot red. And he goes, "Okay, let's go to secondary question." And that's when I really felt my heart move into the pit of my stomach. I saw my whole life go down the drain. Everything. The dreams of getting out, the dreams of starting over, starting to disappear. I felt my heart fall into the pit. They weren't going to let me leave. I wasn't going to go to Bali. I wasn't going to start over. I wasn't passing go. I was going directly to jail. As I got outside and got back to the terminal, I saw they also pulled over another guy as well, a middle-aged, kind of shady-looking Vietnamese guy. The agent asked to see how much cash I had on me. And I had a stack of hundreds, luckily under the $10,000 limit. And he goes, "What would I find if I looked in your suitcase?" And I was very, very stoner response, "Clothes." And he goes, "Okay." But what he would find was Oxycontin, methadone, fake identification I used to use to rent work spots, just not exactly very wholesome things. I was a total drug addict and I needed to get enough Oxycontin in me before I went to Bali to get clean. I was fully addicted to oxys. That was where I was at in that life. I was at the lowest point of my life at this time. And I was trying to make the big jump out. I was done. There was no way I could continue this lifestyle anymore. And I knew I was meant for more. So I could see that all going down the drain because he pulls up his phone to relay to the security to pull my suitcase off the plane. And that was it. If they take that suitcase off the plane, I'm going to go to jail. I'm definitely going to go through withdrawals in a prison. Me and Leah aren't starting over. I'm ruining the situation. I'm absolutely not communicating clearly. Leah is freaking out at this point, asking me to shut up. She just shut up. Let her kind of handle it. So the phone is coming up to the walkie-talkie is going up to his ear. He's about to pull my suitcase off the plane. And just then, all of a sudden, the Vietnamese shady guy goes, "Fuck you! You're taking my liberty!" And the entire airport stops, turns, and looks and sees a shady Vietnamese guy 6 border security agents, a barking dog, Leah, and me. It's about 200 people in this departures lounge, all staring directly at us. And the agents go, "Are you threatening me?" And he goes back, "Fuck you," and screams at the top of his lungs in the Vancouver International Airport. So the agents pounce on him and he begins resisting arrest. The whole scene ignites in chaos. Everyone there is looking at us. Everyone thinks he's about to taser them. And the border security agent that's dealing with me is looking at us, looking back at the Vietnamese guy struggling, looking at us, and doesn't actually exactly know what to do. There's some chaos. So I look at him and I say, "Hey, man, we're just trying to go to Bali. Can you let us go?" And he looks back, and this Vietnamese guy's flailing his arms and then looks at us, and I'm looking as desperate as I can look. I'm looking as absolutely as please, 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 God, please. He looks back at the Vietnamese guy flailing on the ground, and he goes, "Okay, go." I was like, so I get back onto that passenger bridge. Leah won't even speak to me. I look at her, she goes, "Shut the fuck up and get on that plane." I'm like, "Oh, okay. As I'm getting to the airplane, the entire stewardess crew is waiting outside to take my ticket, and they're shaking. I'm shaking. They're staring at us, and they heard everything that happened outside. They look at my ticket. They go, "Oh, 84F," all the way in the back, in the middle. So I walk past 100 people staring at me as I'm walking through that all heard, "Fuck you, you're taking my liberty. Are you threatening me? Fuck you." And then I come on the plane with my girlfriend. So every single one of them like, what happened to this guy? My seat is in the middle, 84F. I have to ask this little sweet old Chinese lady to get out of my way. She's looking at me like, what happened? I'm like, "Not right now. Please don't talk to me. I just can't right now." Sitting there, waiting for the plane to take off. My heart is beating out of my chest. I'm like, I just need this plane to take off. I need this plane to take off. It took forever for us to get taxied off that runway. As soon as I heard ding from the seatbelt, I ran to the bathroom and I sat, and I'll never forget this moment I had in the airplane toilet. The emotions I had were so indescribable. It was like crying and laughing at the same time. Like I almost didn't make it. That was so close for me to having my whole life just go down the drain. The intensity of it, the fear, the panic, the chaos, like it took its toll on my nervous system. But then on the other end of it was this immense gratitude. Like, I made it. I'm gonna start my life over. I felt my whole body tingle. It was an act of God, a guardian angel, whatever you want to call it. All I knew was I was grateful, and I owed it to the universe to make my new life count. And I promised there in that airplane bathroom on the toilet to make my life count, to do some good, to clear that karma. So I was going to become a new man, but I needed to learn how to do that first. So we didn't learn that. There was no school for that in East Vancouver. So fast forward 10 months, and I still had my very addictive personality. And luckily, I got addicted to spirituality and personal development. So I did 3 yoga teacher trainings, authentic relating trainings. I saw psychologists. I began studying Buddhism and Hinduism. I started traveling all throughout Southeast Asia. I did about 10 meditation retreats, all on this journey of finding myself and trying to become a spiritual and good person. And I dedicated my life to giving and service, shifting that to making an impact in the world around me. And on one of the journeys, I found myself in Bhutan, the last Himalayan Buddhist kingdom. And I couldn't even know what that was. Long hair, big, large Rudraksha beads. He looked like he could fly. Like when you look at this guy, you're like, he could probably fly. Oh no, is my internet freezing? Sorry, guys. Hopefully I'm back. So if I met Guruji in India and in in Bhutan, and he invited me to his ashram. And when a guru invites you to his ashram, you go. You just got to do it. There's no ifs and or buts. You need to make yourself get up there and get to that Indian ashram. So I show up in the middle of nowhere in India by myself, and I asked to volunteer at his ashram. And one day, about a week in, he asked us if anybody could help him volunteer to go get vegetables. And everyone in this ashram, every single one of us was like, yes, 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 me, I will go with Guruji. I'm going to go there. And like a little boy on Christmas, when he picked me, I was like, yes, I'm going. I would have pushed people out of my way to help me go with Guruji. Like, there's no way I'm going to go with this guy. So when I get outside of the ashram and we get to this little white compact car, and first of all, I couldn't believe Guruji had a car. And I was like, wait a minute, of course he has a car. Does he have a magic carpet or something? Like, obviously Guruji drives a car, but it was really interesting to see a guru get into a little white Nissan Micra. It's not something you'd expect. We get into his car, we sit, turns on the car, and he shifts into first gear. I'm like, wow, Guruji just shifted gears. Like, oh, okay. And we change lanes. I'm like, Guruji's changing lanes. It's still quite interesting to see a guru driving with you in a Nissan Micra through the streets of India. So I'm amazed. And in my head, I'm like, don't mess this moment up. Don't act like an idiot. Like, please, use this. You have a guru in a Nissan Micra. Enjoy this moment. So we get to this Indian market, and there's like 10,000 people there. It's the most hectic place I've ever been to. There's dogs and cats and cows and ducks and poop everywhere on the floor. It's chaos. It's stinky. It's crazy. And that's where I had the most spiritual moment I've ever had, because this place was chaos. And in between dodging the piles of cow shit and trying not to lose Guruji in this crowd, it hit me. I was never able to actually fully let my nervous system chill. Back in the drug game, presence is important, and so is intuition. And I developed a very heightened sense of intuition from that, but not in a spiritual way per se. It was out of necessity. I needed to know in that present moment if I could trust someone or not. I needed to be focused on what was in front of me at all times. You're doing risky and illegal things. I needed to be constantly reading the situations and being on high alert. But in the presence of Guruji, he embodied love and serenity. His present moment was so much different than mine. I was in fight or flight mode, always checking the exits, always watching my back. I could never have my back towards an entrance. Guruji floated through the scene. He was conveying love. He was conveying trust. He was miles apart from my inner landscape. He even bargained for vegetables with love, ease and grace. Yeah, he'll take oranges with love, but he'll bargain because he's Indian, obviously. And actually to see him being sweet and smiling and able to do a chaotic situation with pure love, everyone treated him better. He could do a mildly stressful thing with so much love and so much presence, everything went smooth for him. It was this where I understood spirituality for the first time. It was how he navigated the world to show so much love and openness and security that I actually experienced my most spiritual awakening. It wasn't during ayahuasca or anything like that. It was during this moment in a vegetable market. It's where I was able to confront myself, knowing that I lived a life in protection mode. I was closed. I was paranoid. I was struck with anxiety. I was constantly just feeling anxious in my body. And even though I was out of the drug game wasn't out of me yet. And when I dropped my fear and paranoia, what immediately arose was this desire to give. When I met the chaos in me with love, what it produced was outward compassion. I realized there was gold in me the whole time. I didn't have to be a bad guy. And even during my destructive actions and inauthenticity and in being out of integrity, I found I could always still come back to truth. By the simple act of infusing love into my everyday actions, normal people things, my life quickly improved. No need for oxys anymore. No need for numbing. There was no need for drugs or shiny bullshit or fancy cars or anything like that. All I really needed to do was be loving, be truly kind. And I fell in love with the side of me I never met before. It was a nourishing, sweet, caring, soft side. It was a side of me that was compassionate and loving and playful, not being scared of pulled over by the cops. What Guruji showed me was I was able to hold that intensity of emotion and love and channel it. I learned that we can't hide from our emotions. We need to feel our feelings and honor the golden parts of ourselves. And because Guruji had given me the idea that I could bring love into anything, including looking at my darkness with love, looking at my demons with love, The most spiritual lesson I ever had was about love and presence. That meant the parts of me that I hated, the shadows, they needed to be loved too. We can't hide those. So I was absolutely mortified before to tell everybody that I used to be an addict. And I would never want anyone to know I was a drug dealer, or at that point in my life, I'd be so scared for all of you guys listening now to know that. It'd be so embarrassing for me. But when I met that with love and I integrated it, it became one of the best things that ever happened to me. Because after integrating that lesson, I was able to start creating again. From a healthier space, I could create rapidly. Since then, I've launched 7 businesses in 7 years, supporting schools for Balinese mentally disabled children. I now coach people through their own processes, helping them launch businesses and getting out of addiction and gangs, and even just normal people who want to be yoga teachers. I'm able to help people because of my darkness. And when you turn your shadow into an ally, you can become a rocket ship, and your dark side becomes your fuel. So when we meet our demons with love, we can turn them into our greatest allies. And if I never did that work, I wouldn't be right here being present with you, bringing my love to this Zoom call. Thank you.